Good morning and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane's been working with buyers and sellers in the Missoula market for over 25 years. Along with her trusted partners, Diane provides complete service for your real estate transaction and brings us guests who provide useful information on industry-related topics and trends. And now, Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk KGVO. Always good to have you with us every weekend here on Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk KGVO. Thank you, Diane Beck, for sponsoring the program and always lining up good guests. A repeat offender, Nate Nunnally, Custom West Pest Control. Good to see you again.
That's good to be back. I always enjoy doing this.
Yeah, and I thought, let's see, we're about mid-spring or so. Probably a good time to have the Custom West guy in here. But let's revisit the background and get reacquainted part real quick. What led you to being the Custom West Pest Control guy, Nate?
Not staying busy enough and having somebody catch me with not enough busyness to myself. So... I joined Karen Terry in running Custom West Pest Control that's been around since 1987. It was started by her husband, who unfortunately passed away in 2010. And so she needed some help running the company, and she knew I wasn't doing anything serious with my life at that time. And so she asked me to come and help out. So I did, and we put our heads together about how we could continue Dave's legacy, because he had established a very reputable business in taking care of people's pest problems from the Missoula area to Butte, all the way down the Bitterroot. And now we've expanded that to all the way up to Whitefish, and we run out west as far as Alberton, Superior sometimes. We even have a guy in Great Falls now. And so, we're starting to spread out all over the state, which is great. But, it's turned out to be very rewarding. I love this business because it's so effective in helping people solve a problem, and I like doing that for people.
And with that, so much for any idle free time on your hands since that day.
Yeah, it was pretty fast and furious for the first few years, but we have learned to pace ourselves, and we've done that by surrounding ourselves with really good staff. We have such a fantastic team. There's, I think, 10 of us on the payroll now. And we just have really learned to, equalize the obligations amongst a lot of different people. And Karen actually leaves tomorrow for a couple weeks of vacation, which is the first time ever that she's taken 2 weeks off since I've worked with her in 10 years. So she's looking very forward to that, and she'll be blessed by it, I'm sure.
I don't spend too much time on the pandemic calendar anymore, but have you experienced a lot more calls in the past year plus now, people staying home a lot more, and they were perhaps discovering nuisances they might not have otherwise?
That's very true. What we saw was kind of a change in tides, where we were doing a lot more commercial stuff. And balance-wise, we're probably doing about 60 to 70% commercial and about 40% residential, and that has changed on us. We now we're seeing a lot more residential. Of course, we had some businesses that had to slow down or shut down and start checking their budgets, so we had to work with them. We lost a few clients that way, which is really unfortunate because they lost their business. But we are starting to see things come back that way. But yes, we definitely saw an increase in residential treatments with people staying at home and realizing they had these bug problems. And when they're sitting at home working in their home office, like my wife did, she came home, and that's actually she loves it there. It turned out to be a long-term thing for her, but she definitely notices things going on in the house that we didn't realize were going on when you're gone, 8-10 hours a day.
Nate Nunnally is our guest with Custom West Pest Control here on Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck on News Talk KGVO. Nate, what are some of the more common customer needs in Western Montana this time of year? What are you starting to get calls for as we move into the latter third of spring?
The flying insects, flies themselves, wasps are, of course, a big one, and spiders. A lot of ant calls going on. We've kind of got the full gamut going on right now. This is, March, April, you'll start seeing the individual things popping up. Usually it's the ants first, and then you'll start seeing a few flying insects, and then the spiders and the wasps. And now it's kind of like everything has gone crazy.
Okay.
And but this is a great time to be getting that treatment done. And we can't urge our clients enough to let us get in there and get that pre-treatment done, that preventative treatment done in the spring.
And along those lines, your seasonal Western Montana pest calendar that you have, how can that benefit your customers?
We developed that because we noticed month to month in the state of Montana is usually like a different strong point of given nuisance pests out there, including rodents. So that's why it's not just about the insects. But springtime, of course, is always the huge flurry. Right now, I mean, since March, April, we run on a lot of squirrels in attics, a lot of skunks burrowed under homes, raccoons trying to invade things, and then birds, nesting where people don't want them nesting. And then coming into the summer here in the next 30 to 90 days, we'll see bats starting to invade certain homes. If you live in the woods, especially, or near a body of water, we get a lot of bat issues going on there.
Trapping a problem critter, is that a pretty common thing? And what some of the challenges that does present?
I will say that it's common to us as a professional pest control company. We have a wildlife division. The great thing about that is it's run by a fella who not only has a wildlife biology degree and really understands how animals work and what their biology is like and why they do what they do to bug us or bother us. But he also has a great background and experience in doing the construction type of work that it takes sometimes to extract an animal or to keep the animal from getting back in. We trap and remove a lot of different wildlife. I can't ever say that any job is routine,
right?
Other than a real common thing is to have birds getting into vents like your bathroom vent or your dryer vent, and of course in a dryer vent that can be really hazardous. And we've seen that potential. So yeah, we chase a lot of that kind of stuff around, and it's spreading us out pretty far.
Well, and, I would assume that as far as the trap itself is concerned, one size does not fit all. You've got to be well equipped with a lot of different ones, right?
Yeah, we have everything from a little cage trap for a mouse all the way up to one that'll hold a raccoon or a fox. So, yeah, Andy has quite the array of traps in our storage unit. It's kind of amazing to look at what all different types of things he uses.
Yeah, you got to have it. Yeah. What Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate on News Talk KGVO. Our guest, Nate Nunnally, owner of Custom West Pest Control. Nate, what is it about a professional treatment that helps, ensure the problem's being attacked rather than just going down to not knocking hardware store, but just going down to the hardware store and grabbing a few cans of spray?
I will often tell people that want to ask us for advice on how to do or deal with a pest problem. If they're willing to do it themselves, that's fine, and we have no problem giving people advice to do that. But where the professional level comes in is, for one thing, we've been at this a long time, and we have a lot of different experiences, even though everything can be unique to the structure that you're around, whether it's your business or your home. But we understand how the different insects or the different pests work. And so using the right application of products, or also identifying, why are they invading my home? Doing exclusion work can become incredibly important, whether it's just fixing the screen on your screen door or on your windows, or sealing around the molding around your doors and your windows. I talk about different types of constructions. If you live in a log home, I'm sorry, but you're going to be susceptible to a lot of different insects invading those homes because you just can't stop every crack and crevice that's available. What happens with the seasons and the fairly significant temperature swings that we experience even in the middle of summer can cause insects to really push inside where it's nice and warm and cozy, where we like to be when it's cold outside. Yeah. So understanding how to identify those issues and then treat them in the proper way. And treatment doesn't always mean that we're using a pesticide. Treatment can mean that we're using caulking or some sort of exclusion material to hold the animals outside and keep them outside. So when you go to use over-the-counter products, I always want to caution people, don't overuse it. Use it according to the label. Or better yet, just hire a professional, because we get to use the good stuff. Let's put it that way. When I say the good stuff, that really opens the door and lends to us using stuff that's least toxic or non-toxic There's a lot of great green solutions. 10 years ago, we didn't have really heavy hitters or good successful products that were in the green realm of products, or the what I call the biological products that don't use pyrethroids, which is a synthesized pesticide. But the other thing that we've done in the great era of chemical engineering that we live in is we've really, really reduced the toxicity of pyrethroids or manufactured pesticides. They work just fine. They work at a very low level, and it's kind of amazing to see the success we can get out of just 1 or 2 treatments a year for people.
Yeah. You're doing a great job of anticipating my next question. I was going to ask you about the technology of it, but I'll take a couple steps back. When customers call you and they realize they have the ant problem or whatever problem, my guess is that once in a while it's obvious, but I'm sure that they are asking you, how'd they get in here? Right. I mean, like I say, sometimes you can probably see that, but there are probably just a million mysteries as to how or how a pest was able to get in there.
Yeah, and age of construction can have a lot to do with it. The type of construction. If you live in a brick home that's recently built, which there's not a lot of those in Montana, you're probably the least susceptible to invasion by any kind of pest. Like I say, if you live in a log cabin, it's always going to be a challenge. If you live in an older home, like for instance, we have a lot of homes that were built on cobblestone foundations in the Missoula area. And so rather than having a solid concrete foundation, you have a foundation that is put together with large stones and mortar. And that mortar tends to break down over time, especially if you're talking a 100-year-old home.
Sure.
And it becomes like a sieve, and the mice and the insects will invade that. And sometimes it can be a real challenge to try to stop that leak, if you will.
Right.
So a good comprehensive treatment with products that are conducive to keeping the insects out or the mice out is what we have to do. And if you get infested, we've got to come in and clean that out. Those are all the different challenges we run into.
And getting back to the technology part of it, hand in hand with that, with respect to the environment, homeowners, pets, their health concerns, a lot of different options you can offer depending on what the customer's problems are. And I assume the answer is yes, which I'll let you expound upon. But and I'm sure that customers like that too.
Yeah, it's what we call integrated pest management. And with every home, every structure that we take on for pest control, we're going to identify what we need to do. First and foremost, we want to exclude. We want to stop the insects from getting in. Do they have a door that they're propping open? Is the door seal on their garage door worn, or is it chewed through? And we have methods for changing those out. We don't change out the door seals. We refer reputable door companies to do that.
Right.
But there are some certain mechanical measures that we'll take to help people fix their homes so that mice and insects can't get in. So we need to identify that, but then we have to identify what is the insect, what's the type of construction, and we integrate our management plan to that structure. And that can include a treatment, of course, with pesticides or mechanical traps for mice, different things like that.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest is Nate Nunnally with Custom West Pest Control here on News Talk KGVO. Nate, take us through a typical call. A customer tells you what the problem is. They want you there 2 days ago. Most of the time, I would assume. What do you need to do prior to using any application to make sure it's the right treatment for their problem?
Yeah, we're going to meet with the homeowner, the business owner. We're going to take a look at their structure. Of course, we're going to. I teach my technicians what I call the 3 I's, and you got me on the spot because I didn't study up for this.
But
you
the
don't
first thing, your eyes? Or...
Yeah, the first thing we're going to do is interview our client, ask them, what are they experiencing, and then have them show us around, and that's where we come into the second I that we call the inspection. And then once we've been able to talk to them and inspect the property and see what's going on, then we'll instruct them on what we feel we need to do to be successful in managing their pest problem. And when we go through an orchestrated program or process like that, we usually end up with a very good result in the end. And that's Yeah, I love this business because I'm not successful until my clients are successful.
Sure.
And if I weren't helping the clients be successful, then I shouldn't be in business. So we're very objective in not just coming in and doing a blanket spray, one fits all for everybody.
Yeah.
Each and every client we treat individually and try to give them the personal attention they need. We definitely have protocols, and we have our different products that we know work best. Like, for instance, we have a great product that it took us 5 years to figure out, 4 or 5 years. In the 10 years I've been there, and I think it was 6 seasons ago, we found out a product that actually came out with a secondary listing for wasps. So we started treating a few homes with that, including my own. I always practice on my own to see how it works, and found out that we had great success with our wasp treatment. So we really like to push that. If wasps are your problem on your home, like in your people who have wooden decks, the paper wasps like to build up underneath those. Yeah. People who have a lot of eaves with exposed trusses to them, you get a lot of wasp buildup in those eaves. So we'll treat the eaves, we'll treat the decks, with our wasp treatment, and have had rave reviews over that.
I apologize if I missed this, but the product was originally intended to be more effective against what?
Against ants, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so that's kind of the amazing thing is. Some of the ant control products that we've used, we're probably 10 years old when I got introduced to them, and we were using them objectively on that. But then all of a sudden we got notification from the manufacturers like, hey, we can take care of wasp as well, and here's how you mix it. So you mix it at a different rate and everything. And we're like, okay, well, let's give this a try and see what happens, because we had been using our what we call our broad spectrum products. We do have a product that can cover a multitude of sins, if you will. It'll cover everything from springtails, or what's known as snow fleas, to spiders. But we were not having the effect on wasp with that product, and it was getting really frustrating. We were trying a lot of different things, and then this product comes out, we give it a try, and bam! So kind of our go-to for wasp now.
I got your 3 I's written down, by the way. Interview, inspect, and instruct. So you don't have to worry about remembering it the next time you come on.
Writing that down.
Of course.
I'll ask for your notes later.
Yes, sir. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate on News Talk KGVO, and our guest, Nate Nunnally, with Custom West Pest Control. Nate always does a great job on this. Something really, really creepy, Nate, about bed bugs, because they can be present in very sanitary conditions, if I understand you from shows past. Is that something you're called upon to service regularly? What is their common behavior, and what are ways we can help prevent them in the first place?
So bed bugs can best be described as the best hitchhikers in the world, because that's really what they do, and that's how they get spread around. And they are non-discriminatory. They're very politically correct bugs, because they don't care how you live, or what your home is like, whether it's cluttered or dirty or anything like that. As long as you travel, they're willing to hop on your suitcase and go with you and move right into your home right alongside of you. And the thing is, with bed bugs, we see it kind of ebb and flow. It's been an interesting realm. I will tell you that I think we're going to see bed bugs slow down a little bit since the pandemic, just because travel got restricted so much. But people are going to start traveling, and we're already seeing the uptick right now. So, what do you do to prevent bed bugs? Well, when you go to a hotel and stay in one while you're doing your travels, or if you're an Airbnb or bed and breakfast, anything like that, is just do a quick inspection. Look at the bedding itself. Make sure you don't have any marks on the bedding. Make sure you don't find any bugs, usually up near the head or the headboard. And, there would be telltale signs.
Can I interrupt you and ask you why the headboard?
That's where our head's exposed. We're easiest to get to for the bed bug to come and feed on us.
All right, I'm with you.
Once they get tired of feeding on you there, they'll move down to the foot of the bed. We find them all around the bed. But the first place we always look on a suspect bed bug situation is we start right at the head of the bed and the headboard.
Okay.
We look at the pillowcases and stuff. And the marks that you find are actually fecal marks or blood marks that you'll find on the stuff. And, that drives people crazy. When I start talking about bed bugs, if I'm in a room of people, you just watch them start scratching and itching. So if anybody's doing that right now, I apologize.
Yeah,
but
my fault for bringing it up.
It's Denny's fault, not mine. We're just here to get rid of them. But if you stay in a hotel, motel, inspect the room and try to ascertain that you don't have anything that is a readily given telltale sign. A bed bug in its full adult form, by the way, is not a mysterious little tiny mite-sized insect. It's the size of an apple seed. So if they're there, other than they're really flat, they'll hide in cracks and crevices. So they may be hidden away. You may not see them that way. But if they're there and moving around, I mean, once you put your eyes on them, you'll see them. But what we found out is a lot of people have a habit of staying in a hotel, and they put their suitcase down next to the bed, and especially towards the head of the bed, next to the bed. Well, because of the biology of bed bugs, I can't say that I'm trying to put this in the nicest way. The females don't exactly enjoy the mating process. It's not the greatest thing for them. So once that mating process happens, they flee a cluster of bed bugs. And when they flee is when they go and hitchhike onto your luggage. Wow. And then you carry that pregnant female home, and all of a sudden you've got your own little colony that hatches within a few days, and you wonder what's going on. Yeah. So our suggestion is, use the dressers or use that luggage rack, and open up your luggage or use your luggage at the foot of the bed, away from the head of the bed, or as far away from the bed as possible. And I don't mean far away, like, you don't have to put it in front of the door or anything like that, but just a common sense approach to that can really help from that spread. If you suspect you have bed bugs, call us. We'll come and do an inspection for you. We want to help you figure that out. And the treatment is relatively easily done. We do have to pull the bed apart and things like that to get it done, but it's not that huge of a deal.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Nate Nunnally with Custom West Pest Control here in Missoula. Also, thank you to some of Diane's marketing partners that bring you the show every weekend here on KGVO. Miles Link of Opportunity Bank of Montana, Rob Fleming from Mann Mortgage, and Carol Blodgett, makeitmissoula.com. We'll get back to Nate in a second here, but it's time for the Becktacular listing of the week from Diane Beck at Windermere. That's at 6767 Linda Vista Boulevard. It's a Linda Vista home, room for everybody. Very inviting 4-level home, great neighborhood. Walk through the front door to the first level living area with expansive windows showing off amazing north-facing views. Just up the stairs, the kitchen and dining rooms, stainless steel appliances, large vaulted ceiling, the skylight, sliding glass door patio access, very, very spacious dining room. And on that level, you find the primary bedroom, suite, a couple of nice-sized additional bedrooms and bath. Downstairs, 2 more bedrooms, bathroom, second living room, laundry room. Vaulted ceilings run throughout the home, making this already expansive, just over 3,000 square foot home feel larger than life. Of course, the double-car garage, gas-forced air, heat, plus AC. Good stuff at 6767 Linda Vista Boulevard. And you can contact Diane Beck at Windermere Real Estate to find out more about that one. Or for a complete rundown of Diane's listings, visit her website, move2missoula.com. That's move2missoula.com. Back to Nate Nunnally with Custom West Pest Control. Nate, any indicators you see early in a season that might suggest it's going to be a big year for this species or that?
That is a great question, and I've been at this for 10 years, and I've grown up in Montana, so I know how our seasons can fluctuate. I mean, spring can come as early as February, and sometimes it seems like it doesn't start till June. And those weather indicators to me are probably the biggest thing that I can observe about when and how the pest season's going to hit. Right now, pretty mild, pretty early spring with the recent hot days that we've had. Yeah. I'm expecting a pretty heavy-duty pest season. Now, with that, with the lower volumes of rain and moisture going on in the valley floors, we won't see near the issues with mosquitoes that we could typically see. But Montana, in my 10 years, if we have a 30-day long mosquito season anywhere near the valley floor, that's fairly significant. In my own house, I don't live very far from the river. I live out in Target Range. and I'll go through a week or two of a little bit of mosquito activity, but once it gets hot enough, it just seems like we don't see that much of the mosquitoes. We don't have enough moisture around. I'm sure there's plenty of them where there are ponds or lakes or rivers. You're going to have a lot more mosquito activity, but anyhow, this won't be much of a mosquito year, at least for us. This year.
Yeah. So mostly weather related.
Yeah.
In terms of training, certification, staying up to date, what does your Custom West pest control team routinely do to stay as effective as you possibly can be?
So we're licensed through the Montana Department of Agriculture, which requires us to stay on top of continuing education. It's kind of become my personal thing to push as much new, fresh information to our technicians as I can find. We use the winter months to do a lot of in-house training, but we're also members of the National Pest Management Association, NPMA, and that has become a tremendous resource that not only gives us access to the latest, greatest information on what insects are doing and how they're working, but also on the products that are being used and being developed to deal with the different insects out there. But they also have organized training. And I've actually had the opportunity, I've gone to a couple of the national conferences, and there's a fellow that oversees the technician training aspect of the organization who I've talked to on the phone. But to actually get to meet him and listen to him talk was really interesting. And he actually has a YouTube channel out there, and I wish I could think of what it's called off the top of my head. He's about as geeky as you can get, but he's really, really smart and a super nice guy, and he's passionate about this business. So we know each other by name, so it's kind of cool. When I walked up and introduced myself, like, oh yeah, how's things out in Montana?
You know, I always like to ask about success stories, something that was a real challenge that left the customer extremely satisfied, and you. Pretty darn proud of what you did.
Yeah, and not to brag, but we have lots. We have a lot of great success stories where we've walked in going, oh, can we win this battle? But like my wildlife tech, Andy, a lot of these homes that we work on, there are a lot of folks that own very significant quote-unquote cabins, that'll be 8,000 or 9,000 square foot homes.
Oh, gosh.
Up in the woods, log homes. And log homes can really be susceptible to bat invasion. And I know Andy was on a $1 million plus home, and he had to pull down a custom tongue and groove ceiling to extract the bats, to clean up the issue. He extracted the bats before he pulled that ceiling out. Got the bats extracted, but he had to pull that ceiling down to clean it because there was a lot of guano and stuff going on there that leaves an odor and everything. And I was so nervous about him being able to put that ceiling back in and make the homeowner happy. And he got done, and the homeowner called me, and she was just raving about the work that he did. So that was one of those big, heavy sighs, but also gave me just more and more confidence about how brilliant our wildlife manager is. He's very, very good. We took on a 3-story 30-unit complex that had a roach problem for somewhere between 8 and 10 years.
Wow.
And I was fairly intimidated by that, but working through some of the people I've used to mentor me in the business through the NPMA and our suppliers, they said, here's your subscription for service. And we went in there, and we knew it was going to take a little bit of time. It took us a little over a year, but we were successful, and the building owner was incredibly happy with us. And we ended up doing all of their different units across the area. So some of those are shining moments in the business.
That is fantastic. Yeah. Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Nate Nunnally, of Custom West. As you said before we got started, it always goes really fast. And before we run out of time here, Nate, if people are interested in the services offered by Custom West, what do you want them to do?
Give us a call. That's a local number at 406-728-4447. And if for some chance you're hearing this outside of the Missoula area, that number will still get you into our dispatch center. The other thing I want to remind people is, yes, we do have a wildlife division. They're incredibly busy. But if you have a bird problem, if you have a bat problem, if you have rodents that are larger than mice, we specialize in dealing with that stuff, and we're here to help you.
Great seeing you. Come back again soon,
thanks,
would you?
Denny. Good to be here.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Email dianebeck@windermere.com, or for a complete directory of Diane's listings, visit movetomissoula.com. That's move, the number 2, Missoula.com. We'll see you next time on Missoula Real Estate Today.